Hey y'all, how's it going? Gonna go through these really quick. Hope y'all have had a great day. We were looking at 450 to 449.6 on SPY. Let's start there first. Once we get down to this kind of like we break right straight through 450, but once we get down to 449.6, you can really see that sellers are losing their momentum here. Just reading the price action here, you can see a lot of difficulty to make this move further down. You can see that the volume is staying relatively high. It's staying pretty flat here, actually. And I think Steven got in on, of those few 5-minute candles there. I think it's possible that he made his way in here and even held it through here before letting that one go. But once we get down here, you can see this little bounce that's clearly buyers stepping in. Clearly buyers are stepping in here. And then the volume is pretty low on this move down. Volume really tapers off. And even though you're seeing these high volume red bars, it's just really struggling to make lower lows. And particularly you can see that here. You can see that again here. A lot of volume coming in here. And then once again, really struggling to maintain low a day. So for me, this part looks the most obvious from a price action and volume standpoint. This is really messy. And from this standpoint here, this is, a pretty big drop. So I don't know that I'd find myself comfortable taking entries here. However, once we can see that they're really struggling to make a low a day, a lower low a day, and that bounce off of low a day right here, high volume, all bullish price action between these three. That's good enough for me, and this next to no volume drop would be the signal for me. I also like this retracement back to low a day again as well. You got falling volume into this area, and as volume picks back up, you can see a nice bullish red candle there. And then it takes off on volume 2. So taking your entries right here as we break above it with your stop loss set here or at low a day would be perfectly fine in my opinion. If you missed out on that and you wanted to get in on the action, you could take low a day to high a day with fibs and start to wait for price action to validate this. You can see the volume's still relatively low. It's below average here, though these wicks are really high. You can see this drop on even lower volume, and when volume picks up, it's on the buy side here. You can see a lot of sellers really trying to push this further down. Again, high volume here and high volume here, just struggling to do so. You can take it here if you want as it passes VWAP with your stop set below there, or you can wait for this nice little retest if it gives it to you. Right here, personally, all of this area to me looks good. And if you're looking on the 5-minute, you can see this volume taper off right as we hit the 61.8. Buyers coming in on high volume. This attempt at making a lower low on even lower volume. And then breaking above the EMAs, and this was not a bad move in my opinion. And that's it for SPY. I'm gonna go to Tesla. Tesla was a no-go today. I think it was the same for Meta. Tesla, you could take this 251, 252 reject. It's just that you have a lot of momentum coming up to it. I think the better look is this EMA right here. You get this, and I think this might have been the one that Steven was talking about actually, because I think that Steven took a Tesla trade as well. I was kind of focused on Apple today, and I'm going to go through that later. But once we get up here, you can kind of see that the volume's staying high, and then we're getting a lot of upper wick rejection. It's tough though because it's made it to where you don't really want to take a reject until you can see that it can sustain below these lows, because it's just whipping back up at you and on volume. So it's not really safe in my opinion, but it is struggling to make higher highs over and over and over again. But when it comes back down to VWAP, you can see volume still staying high, and you can kind of see these little reversal candles here, 1, 2, 3. breaking back above. You can take it here as it passes, the next 5-minute candle. If you're more comfortable going on lower time frames, you can see that as the volume increases, these candles get smaller, and the buyers start to eat this move up. We get this high volume reversal bar, pushes above VWAP. Volume kind of pretty much stays the same here, but it remains bullish. Between this series of candles here, it all looks bullish. You could say that this might have been an attempt at a lower high here, but I think that your saving grace is that you've got the 5-minute confluence with you, and I don't know how the 15-minute is going to look on this. 15-minute just looks like a 1, 2, 3 setup. So that's that. You can also wait until it gets back above 251 and take your entries here on the uptrend. I think the uptrend entries here and here make sense. Let's look at QQQ. QQQ, it looks like the 61.8 that I called out was almost the top today. You get a really nice series of bearish candles here up at the top. Would probably want to wait until we pass this like little shelf because it was really struggling to break lower than that, even on high volume. So I would want to wait for that. I might see myself entering on one of these candles if I got impatient, but I could definitely see myself entering as we break below here. You can see the EMAs start to, flatten out and curve out here. You can take your profits here at the EMA, plenty of room to the EMA. You can take your next profits here at the next EMA, and the next one would have been VWAP, probably would have been stopped out as it passed back above the EMAs. And we're clearly in an uptrend, so this is not something that I would plan on just holding all day. So that one is that one. Let's talk about Apple. Apple, I said that we were looking for the 187 bounce up into prior day low or up into the gap fill, but we didn't quite get there. And in pre-market, I was saying that I might like an uptrend entry on top of here. For whatever reason, I didn't type that out in my alert channel. But this was a really pretty decent move. I unfortunately got stopped out on this, and this speaks to the impatience that issue that I was referring to a second ago. Get a lot of really nice volume here as we bounce VWAP. I kind of thought that maybe that was our, I don't know, I squinted and made this my break and retest of 188. But that was obviously not the case, and we rejected prior day low. And when we came, why does this volume look so weird? There we go. That's better. Oh, it's because of the opening candle. When we came down here to the 50, and I'll explain what I mean here, is that if you take pre-market low to what was current day high, we clearly had this really large movement. We didn't sustain prior day low, but when we come down here, you can kind of see that we bounced the 61.8 really nicely, and we're continuing to have volume increase as soon as we hit this spot. Buyers are stepping in. So when I saw this, bullish candle here, took my entries. I think it was actually, unfortunately, closer to VWAP. I would have preferred an entry right here, but it did not give me that. Or I got impatient for that, rather, because if I had just waited a second, we would have gotten that right here. It fortunately did not break below here, the 61.8, which is where my stop loss was at. We got this really nice move up here, took my trims at prior day low, and then I set my trim, my exit here below the previous 5-minute candle, to which it came and stopped me out and then moved up. But if I had been just patient, this is the nicest looking break and retest that we've got so far. We get this nice higher volume breakout. We do see a reversal bar here, and then we see these the volume increasing on the way down here, but the candles kind of remaining small. And then you get this nice little tail here. You get this break back above. Looks really great. You do have on the 5-minute, you have a pretty bearish looking 5-minute candle. So that's something to be wary of, I think. But once we've, we've broken above this now multiple times, and we're starting to sustain 5-minute candles above it. I think that it looks pretty good. Would have been really nice to be able to take this to high a day, and then you get another little break, a little retest of it here. We have volume kind of increasing here, candles staying the same size, volume back up to average-ish here, and then it takes off from here. Really nice doji, and a move up. You can take your entries here, have your stop set below VWAP. If you want to be more heavy on the risk, just below the level. If you want to be lighter on the risk, and then it moves up, and it goes up all day from there. So missed out on that one, unfortunately, but did get a little piece of it. And then the next one I think was Amazon, but Amazon didn't do really anything that we wanted it to do today. Even taking the high a day down to the lows here, it didn't really give me the fib entries that I wanted. Once you get down here, it looks like you finally get chances at some fib entries if you take high a day down to here. But that's really it, and it's pretty choppy. This is the better looking one in my opinion. You even get a little lower high to it. But that's all. And that's going to wrap it up for me. 11 minutes is certainly long enough. So hope you guys had a good one. Hope you all made tons of money, and I will talk to you all later.